All right, hello. We are taking a look at LedgePainter, and I'm joined by the way, is it just a two-person team?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So in that case, I can say I am joined by the entire development team, and that is Charlie and Adrien. All right, so I guess I should get started by clicking on the README, huh?
Yes.
Oops, that's closing the game. I thought that was closing the menu. My bad. Okay, so we'll just nudge this over slightly. I'm curious about what this text along the top of the screen is. These like ASDF. These like.
Oh, it was like. So basically, it's trying to replicate a game engine interface, and so I was like, what do I tap up there? Because it's not supposed to have any meaning. So I was like, just smash the keyboard, and whatever comes out is going to be.
Okay, I saw a button labeled Prosh's editor do not click, and I'm like, well, I have to click that. Why does that button exist?
Well, basically, I was like thinking of a way to kind of fit, because the idea is that it's a game engine, and so I was like thinking of like ways to have basically the button be the asset browser. So I was like, how would you close the game? And so I was like, okay. Generally, you always have that weird script that crashes the game for no reason, but you just don't click it.
Yes, it's a bit of an insider joke.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a development. But then I added the red cross on the top right, so I guess it's a bit redundant. But there's a VFX, so it's funny.
All right, well, let's get into the first level here, and I'll ask each of you just the. Oh, I bet there's some fun Easter eggs on the loading bar there that I just missed, unfortunately. Yeah. I'll take another look. But yeah, so if we can, I guess, get into what each of your roles on the project was and what your background is in game development. I always just sort of go alphabetically here. So Charlie, if you don't mind going first.
Yeah, sure. So basically, I did did most of the engine work. Engine work as in like development and design. Well, basically, so I did development, design, implementation, and also the visuals and shader and all that. And I don't know, Adrien, I just want to...
Yes, so basically, to put it simply, we can say that I did all the sound and Charlie did everything else. So it's easier that way. I helped him a bit with implementation, just a bit, but we can say that my participation to the project was the music and sound design.
Okay, sounds good. So in that case, we'll start in with my first question then, which is, what was the inspiration behind this game? I mean, I guess I have a pretty clear idea what with, I guess, a lot of modern AAA games like Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Horizon Zero Dawn come to mind as games that kind of like paint the edges to make it clear of like, oh, player, go here.
Yeah, so well, first when we started the jam, we did like I don't remember how long it was, but like almost one or 2 hour call of like, what do we do? And we couldn't find anything. It's like, fuck, what do we do? And so then I was almost ready to give up, and then I took a break, and I don't know what I played. I think it was Assassin's Creed. And they have those same painted ledges, and I was like, yeah, maybe you paint the level and see how it works. Because I also remember like a few weeks before the jam, I think there was kind of a thing about like a Twitter account that did a whole shtick about in the Resident Evil 4 remake. It was all that yellow paint. And he didn't like it, but
right.
So
right.
Yeah, I guess it was on my mind at the time.
Yeah, you know, I'm on the fence with these sort of things. Like, it's useful as an accessibility feature, as is usually the case with these things, I feel like if you can turn it off, then there's no harm in having it. Most of the time, I would want to have it on just because modern AAA games are so full of visual polish that it's sometimes just very hard to tell what you can interact with. And you could call that a fault, but you could also just say, like, it's not worth getting upset over as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's definitely something that, like, from a player side, you tend to think like, oh, well, I know I'm supposed to interact with this, or oh, I'm supposed to interact, climb there, or whatever. But like, I think it was like in Valve developer commentaries of like, oh, they keep saying like players do not look up, and it's a nightmare to have them look up. So for me, it's, as you said, it's nice if it's optional, but like I won't get mad if it's in the game and I can turn it off, because like it's basically codified in video games now, and I don't think it's worth getting mad about it. And that is a bug, I think.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah, the game isn't bug free, definitely.
No, it's a feature, it's not a bug.
You can click on the launch playtest button to stop the playtest,
Okay, that'll actually stop
which isn't really intuitive. I guess I should have switched the test when you...
No, I'm curious just to see, like, how little paint you can get away with. I like the fact that the levels are sort of designed in this puzzle-esque fashion where you can clear it by using all 5, but it is actually possible to do with less as well.
Yeah, well, because at the beginning it was when I prototyped it, I knew there was just the idea of like guiding a player with paints, but there wasn't really a clear, like, okay, you have a texture budget and everything. It was more about like, okay, how do I prototype this? And then when I prototyped it was kind of about like finding fun, and also finding a technical limitation, because initially the texture budget was was just there to justify the a shader issue I had of like I couldn't put enough paint spots to have you be able to click indefinitely.
No, but I think it's a really great example of emergent design, because it totally makes sense. Because if you could just paint the complete path, then it wouldn't be much of a challenge. You could just literally draw a line from the start to the finish. But in this case, you have to sort of think about sight lines and how they're going to, how you can sort of lead the player and what they're going to see, what they're not. It's a little tricky to kind of get an exact understanding of how the AI, like how there we go. Okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely not perfect, and yeah, there's definitely some cases where the AI does things that it's not supposed to do. But
I think we just saw an example of that.
Yeah. But hey, if you think about it, like sometimes when you play this, players also do weird things. So
oh, absolutely, my goodness. I mean, that was the see the previous conversation we had about the Let's Game It Out YouTube channel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Stacking stuff and everything.
Yep. And it's funny, like I hear it kind of recited as a meme of like, oh, players don't look up, and people are like, yeah, of course, haha, gamers don't look up. It's like, no, but seriously, gamers actually don't look up. And beyond that, like, gamers also don't read. I can tell you that. That's why anytime I always advise people, if you're gonna have like button prompts in your game, always put at least the button. Like, if you're supposed to press the E key to interact with something, don't have a prompt that says interact. Put a prompt that says E above the thing, because players will also just not read the instruction that told them what the interact button was. Like, it's weird when you do something like the beginning of Dark Souls, where just the instructions are just messages left on the ground. And somehow the sheer, like, given how obtuse that is, when the player engages with reading the message on the ground, that actually makes it more likely that they will read it. But if you put a text box in front of their face, they will just like skip. It's like, don't you want to know how to play this game?
Yeah,
It can be so frustrating sometimes.
yeah. And I thought also, I think for Dark Souls, it must kind of also kind of I guess set up the tone of the game. Because like, okay, it's not holding my hand. Better pay attention to what it's saying.
Yeah, it's true. The context that it establishes, that like this is a game that is going to demand a lot from you, and not for nothing. Like I feel like that sort of setting expectations is incredibly important, because then that kind of puts your brain into a different level of engagement. And that's actually very important from the perspective of managing expectations. Like, there are some things you can do in a Dark Souls game that would feel terrible if it happened in a Mario game. But if you made Dark Souls as easy as Mario, then you would alienate a lot of the player base who enjoys the sheer like difficulty and frankly adversarial designs that game employs sometimes. So again, it's just a matter of managing audience expectations.
Definitely.
Okay, well, that's that sort of whole tangent out of the way. We can move on to the next question then. What was the actual development process like for this game?
So I remember. I don't know if you have something specific.
No, go ahead.
Okay, sure. Because so I remember. So we did the brainstorm, then took a break, got back with the idea. I think I did a quick prototype of like, because I hadn't really used the nav meshes in Unity before. This is made in Unity, as you've seen with the splash screen. And I hadn't really used the nav meshes, so it was basically the first evening was just trying to get the character to move along it and see how the nav mesh links work and everything. And then I think on Saturday morning I finished the basic like placing paint and having the exit points register stuff and everything, which was pretty quick, unusually quick for compared to past game jams I've done. And yeah, most of the rest of the development was like doing all the interface UI stuff, fixing as many bugs I could, I guess, because it's still not perfect. And doing the visuals. But I have to say, like, having the kind of prototypey visual stuff style was definitely a big help in terms of dressing, because like first prototype version was basically almost like this one, except like it was not the hand-drawn texture. It was like I think one of the texture from Kenny's prototype packs or something. And yeah, so it felt pretty safe, because then you could like at any point it looked kind of okay, like it looked like it would look like in a prototype phase of a game. So there wasn't so much pressure as to I need to art this part of the map or something.
Yeah, it's meant to look like a gray box.
And so but I think the last part we did was actually sound integration, because I think Adrien, you had you weren't available on Saturday, right? I think.
Yes. Basically, what I remember from development is that, yes, like you said, we almost abandoned the idea of finishing the jam because we had no idea. And the subject of the theme of the jam was quite hard, and it was we took a really long time to find a pitch that suited us and that was not too obvious. And I remember that the development went into phases. The first phase is just us not succeeding in anything, and then it went pretty swimmingly till the end. And once it's this idea that most of the time it's very hard to start something, and once you've pinpointed what you want to do and you find the idea that you want to pursue, it becomes a lot easier, and you just do it to the end. But no, yes, for me, when concerned about the sounds, I think I did all of it the last day, but it's always like that in such short game jams. Like, you have to have a game to make the sound of it. You can predict what will happen and try to guess, but you have to have quite a finished product to make a satisfying work out of it.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Just in the general sense of like, you're aiming for a certain level of polish that like is frankly like hard to achieve within the scope of a simple game jam. Like, you don't always have the time necessary to reach the level of polish that you like, and there's an interesting line you have to walk between something that is like, there's almost more forgiveness for a game that like strives to be something really complicated but kind of has some rough edges than there is for something that is trying to be something basic, but maybe it's a developer's first time participating in a game jam, so it's not super polished. But I don't know, people have some weird expectations when it comes to playing game jam games.
Yes, definitely. And I think that it's very interesting for game developers to try, especially this very short game jam of 1 or 2 days, because it's usually when you do a game, it's 1 year, 2 year, 3 years development. It's very long, you have time. And I personally find it very hard to do things quickly. I tend to take my time to make things. And so having to do a whole game in 2 days, it trains me to do things quickly and not to look them too much in detail, and it helps not to be too perfectionist, and I think it's a great exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you definitely learn a lot from participating in a game jam, but I do wonder how much of participating in a game jam just makes you better at participating in future game jams versus...
Yeah.
No, you won't learn to do AAA games with this kind of scope. But it's interesting because you have to scope it right, and I think it's the most important point, scoping the game right, because you're obviously always going to overscope the game. But it's really interesting to say, oh, okay, I'm gonna make a really simple game, but I'm gonna make it right within the time I have. And I think it's interesting, at least for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think game jams are a fantastic exercise. I just got some red weird issues. Killzones spawn in play mode. We have a fix coming, but in the meantime, try to make the player avoid them. Sorry. Okay. Well, I'm glad I ran into that note before I tried putting any paint down, because it does inform where I'm going to be putting stuff. You just kind of have to remember where they are. So like guide someone here and here.
Honestly, this one, crap. I have like 2 levels. I need at least 2 more. How do I add some more challenge to the game? So it was like, okay, invisible kill zones. I guess it would do.
And is it actually... Sorry?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, is it possible to clear the game with a green rating on every level? Like just because I noticed that you have to. If you
sorry.
Because each time you use paint, you are like dipping down the texture budget here, and if you only use 2, then you get a green rating. But is it still possible to clear every level with only using 2 pieces of paint?
I'm not sure. Personally, I never succeeded. But Charlie, is it possible? Oh,
I'm sorry, my Discord is breaking up somehow. Yeah,
Oh,
sorry. Really sorry about that.
No worries. Do you want to try disconnecting and I can reconnect you?
Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
Okay, just rejoin Voice General and let you live. Okay, let's see if that fixed it. Can you hear me all right now?
Yes.
Okay, so just to reiterate the question, I just saw that you've got this score of like 5 out of 5, and if you use 3 spots of paint, then you're down to 2 out of 5. But is it actually possible to clear every level with only using 2 pieces of paint?
Well, basically, it's like if you check the color of the text, it shows the kind of score. Because if you look at the main menu, you have the green, yellow, and red. And so basically, if it's not green, then you can still lower the budget.
Right, and because I was spending so long on this first level just trying to figure out where to put that single piece of paint.
Honestly, some of the strategies are like it's really not like it's more about exploiting the actually guiding the player. So like for example, for the first level, if you see the pillar on the left of where the player starts.
Of course. Okay, yeah. I was wondering why that was there.
Put a paint spot on it.
Okay. Yeah, I should have
really,
realized there was no extraneous detail that's that existed for a reason.
But I think there also was another way. I can't remember. I think there might have been another way to trick this level.
I got kind of close with putting a paint spot sort of on the far right side there, but they just don't turn far enough around to actually see the spot.
But I think there might be a spot like on the floor that you can put so that the player moves far enough that then they can technically see the door. Also, one thing that the game kind of cheats is that the rotation of the camera of the player, it doesn't influence where they're actually looking for a paint spot. It's more like if they're at a position, it's basically a raycast, and if it can't see the spot, it will never look there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'm interested to see if I can find this like sort of alternate way of clearing the first level, but there we go. I think that's got it.
Yeah, it might be.
Oh, it's freaking out a little. That's okay. That's fine. We've already cleared the level. I feel like you could like just keep experimenting with that, but I'd rather go back to the levels I haven't cleared yet. Cool. So what was the most difficult problem that you encountered during the jam, and how did you end up solving it?
Is not like we said, the first phase where we just had no idea what to do. I think that's what do you think?
Yeah, because like other than that, I think it was like pretty okay in terms of your skin tickles and I think it was all right in terms of production. I don't remember there being much. I think it was more about like finding the game and finding the fun, because like technically there wasn't that much huge technical challenge, and the art is pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd say finding the idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
There weren't any like technical issues or anything like you mentioned that, was this the first time that you had been using the NavMesh tools in Unity?
Yeah, well, actually I might have done like one small project with them, but like didn't use them that much. I had not used Navlinks though, so like that was kind of a first, I guess. But like, yeah, I was actually pretty surprised as to how straightforward the NavMesh system was. Knowing the intricacies of Unity on other regards, I guess. Yeah, no, it was pretty straightforward actually.
Ooh, I think I just got there we go. That was the optimal solution for this level. Cool. Yeah, well, I'm glad that there weren't any particularly like difficult technical hurdles to overcome. Like, it's not a guarantee that every project will have one, but if you're grading on a scale, you can always say that there was at least one thing that was the quote unquote most difficult. So that's usually what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think we kind of got lucky with like the project scope we ended up with, because I think the jam I did before was, I think, one of the Ludum Dare. I never know how to say it.
Ludum Dare? I don't know. Maybe it's Latin, maybe
yeah,
it's not.
there. Yeah, I always read it, and then I heard someone say Ludum Dare, and I was like, oh yeah, makes more sense. But yeah, I remember trying to do one, and I overscoped instantly and never finished it. So I was like, okay, this time it's small scope, and we'll build from there, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ludum Dare, like, you can say whatever you want, just as long as you don't say go dot. I die inside every time someone says that. It's like, oh, okay, you don't. Okay. Anyway. So yeah, did you have, like, I saw that you made like a sort of 1.01 post-gem version of this, but did you ever have any plans to make any new levels or make any changes to the game outside of that?
So levels, well, not really actually, because like in terms of level design, I think I'm not a huge level designer, so I think I've scratched what I could scratch with this game. I do remember thinking at some point like what we could potentially add to the game, but like the ideas that popped up were it ended up with us adding stuff that kind of went away from the basic idea of the game. And so yeah, never really ended up with something where at least where I was like, oh yeah, we need to add this because this is extra important, and the game would be 100 times better if it had it. And also I couldn't bring myself to try to fix the player controller, so it stops doing some of the erratic behavior, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Like the backwards wall jump or ledge.
It was like
clamber.
Because like I still have like technically the Navlinks don't trigger the jump and ledge grab animation by themselves. It's really just like there's a trigger in the middle of the path, so every time an animation plays, it's kind of delayed. So yeah, they're the secrets of that's why the game was so easy to make. It's like cutting corners everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, quite rightly, this was also something that came up in the previous game jam, but like opting for a quote-unquote 5-minute experience is perfect, because that's reasonably the length of time that you'd expect somebody to play your jam game. And if you happen to make something that lasts longer, then cool, but you just can't necessarily expect players to want to play for that long. And sometimes that's just the entirety of the concept that you're exploring in the game. Like that's all there is to it. So nothing wrong with that. It's just some experiences kind of bear out shorter than others.
Yeah, definitely. Because like also, because I totally forgot. We kind of skipped past the game experience part when we introduced ourselves. So we both did game development school actually in France, because we're French also. If you haven't noticed with the accent. And so it's also something that you kind of see with some of the like student projects of like, okay, this isn't like, it's a cool concept for a student project, but like does it really warrant a full game version? And sometimes not that much, because you've kind of went around the stuff you had to say with the playtime and mechanics you have.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about everything I had to ask in terms of questions. So if anyone would like to ask any questions from chat, please do so now. And otherwise, I'll make sure to link your itch.io profiles as always. But is there anywhere else? Oh, that's your LinkedIn page, I see. Do you want me to share these links in chat?
It's basically just my LinkedIn page. It's not very interesting.
Sorry, my Discord froze again, but
no
I'm back.
Worries. I was just saying that I always give people an opportunity to give shout outs to any games or projects they're working on, if there's anywhere you'd like people to follow you on social media.
Well,
go ahead, Adrien.
Yeah, we could, if you go to Charlie's page.
Oh no.
There's not very long after this game we did Recycle, which is another game we made in a game jam. It's way higher scope, but was it for the GMTK?
No, it was for after
no.
2 weeks after we did it was for the my first jam, game jam, which is way longer, and we also overshot the deadline.
Yeah,
because
this time we did not succeed in bringing the scope down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's kind of a short hike vibe ish with a bicycle and stuff like that.
Yeah, my first game jam. I forgot his
name.
Are these listed out of order here, or was this a more recent jam?
It was more recent.
Yeah.
So hold on. Why did you participate in my first jam when this is noticeably not your first?
Sure.
Don't talk about it.
No. So the my first jam. Well, first it was because some friends linked it to us. So it was like, oh, sure, I'm up for another game jam. What could go wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And well, technically we had one person for which it was the first jam. But yeah, they explain in the jam rules that it's fine. You don't need to.
It's not exclusive to people who haven't made games before. Yes.
Yeah.
And as we very greatly exceeded the deadline, we technically didn't participate.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely curious to take a look at that. If you would like to come back on for another session down the line, I do these interviews, but I also just do like general feedback sessions where I just check out a game and sort of casually chat about its design with the developers. But just let me know.
Yeah, sure. And so
we're a lot more in this game, so we could be.
Yeah. And so as Adrien was saying, we did that. As for me, in terms of socials, I guess you can follow me on Twitter or X, I guess.
Nope, it's called Twitter. You had it right the first time.
Yes, so you've put the link. I'm working on maybe switching to Godot. Good.
Yep.
Did I say it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe switching to Godot, even though like I don't know if you've seen the announcement.
Yeah, just today they walked it back.
So I'm still kind of wondering for at least my current project. So I'm kind of working on a kind of exploration-ish platformer, and I also have a way bigger scope and bigger development time projects that I also work on my off time of like it's kind of Mirror's Edge meets Mario Galaxy. I think it's my pinned tweet.
Okay, let's take a look at that.
But yeah, it's a bit of a of a big scope game that will be.
Oh god. Okay. I get motion sensitivity really bad. I'm gonna let this play, but I'm gonna keep my eyes shut because the camera moving around in first person there is just
it's
no
totally,
good.
Totally an understandable criticism and totally an issue with the game.
Well, it's fine for some people, but just I get motion sensitivity like really quickly. So yeah, I'm good. I know it's about 30 seconds. I'm gonna let it play out, and then I'm gonna hit escape to close out of this.
Yeah, no, I have a.
It doesn't just loop, right? Like it's gonna stop. No, it loops. God.
You can stop it now, but
yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I think I've a stomach that's a bit too used to VR and stuff like that, so so I'm not that sensitive to motion sickness, I guess.
Oh yeah, I'm like crazy oversensitive relative to most people, so I won't be able to play that one on stream.
Yeah, there's a link I can share to you. It's my SoundCloud.
Awesome.
I have not a lot of things to say. I've only one chiptune, little chiptune album, but nothing more.
No, that sounds great. I love chiptunes. Yeah, feel free. You can either send it to me or you can paste it in chat yourself.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah. I'm not connected. I will send the link to you.
Yeah, you can just drop it to me, Discord direct message or whatever.
Yeah, Charlie, please. You can. You have the link, Charlie?
Oh no, send it to me and I'll paste it.
Yeah. Yes, done.
Here and here.
We'll get it. There we go. All right. Awesome.
All right.
EP chiptune is great, by the way. I recommend giving it a listen. Oh, hey, is that...
That's nice. It's one of our friends.
Friends. Oh, actually, it's they help for I think the mixing of.
Yeah, actually, they did the mix of the music, nice. So they're kind of part of the development team.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for joining me on the stream today. It's been a lot of fun taking a look at LedgePainter.
Yeah.
And if you have any other Jam projects in the future that you'd like to share and have a similar conversation, I'm always happy to take a look. And especially, maybe not the first-person Mirror's Edge game, but the other one you mentioned, the platformer that you're thinking of transitioning over to Godot, I'd be happy to take a look at that as well.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I'll definitely go come to you if when it's done.
Yeah. Well, like don't so much worry about that. Like, don't forget, I'm a game dev as well. I'm happy to take a look at stuff in progress. I can still give meaningful feedback on that. And hey, look at that! I managed to clear the last level, so we're all green here.
Nice.
Nice.
All right. Well, yeah. Thank you once again for coming on the stream.
Merci
beaucoup.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having us. And
yes.
And, yeah.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.